Welcome to Happy, Healthy, and Hungry, the podcast where we embrace the joy of food, the vitality of wellness, and the fulfillment of living well. I'm your host, Chef Marie Maglio, your guide on this flavorful journey. Each episode will explore mouth-watering recipes, holistic living tips, and practical strategies for creating a better, healthier life. Plus, we'll be bringing in experts and panelists in the areas of movement, mind, body, and finance to share their insights. This is Happy, Healthy, and Hungry. Let's dig in and discover the ingredients for your most fulfilling life yet. Today's guest is Elaine Williams, a best-selling author and comedian with over a decade of experience coaching entrepreneurs on confidence and video performance. As a keynote speaker and presentation skills expert, Elaine helps others share their message with ease and humor. Some of her credits include appearances on Saturday Night Live, America's Got Talent, HBO, ABC, Fox, and the New York Times. Hey, Elaine, thank you so much for joining the Happy Healthy podcast. Happy, Healthy, and Hungry. I forgot that part because everybody's always hungry. So yes, I am so excited to bring you here today because you have an amazing story and you were an inspiration to me when I first met you.
Wow.
So if anybody wants to know Elaine, I met her, gosh, how many years ago? It's been a while.
2017, I think.
It might as well be 17 years or 20 years at this point, but that's how long it feels because Elaine has an amazing soul. We're both Pisces, and we just have that creative energy that flows. And so Elaine, when I met her, she was just like, "You're amazing. You're so good. You know, you could be in front of camera and you could do this." And I was like, "No, I can't. I can't be in front of people. I like to be behind the scenes. I like to be in the kitchen. You know, as a chef, I never want to be in front of people." Obviously it's been a long road, so I'm very happy that you're here so that you could share your story. So she helped me. Elaine helped me be who I am today in front of this camera today in this podcast. So you were a part of it, very much so early on, and I appreciate you for that. So thank you.
Oh, well, thanks, Marie. I'm so honored to be on your podcast. And, I just loved your personality. And I thought this woman is so talented. And, your homage to your mom and her cooking and your Italian heritage. And then, we did a shoot and you were just a natural. Like for most people, speaking on camera is so challenging. And you were like creating things and moving things around in the kitchen. And I was just like, oh my gosh, she's got to have her own show someday. And here you are.
Here I am. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about your backgrounds. What kind of just give us a brief history of who you are, what you do, and how you are happy and you help others.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm a video coach, comedian, speaker, best-selling author. I feel like I'm on a mission to help heal the world, one video, one story, one joke at a time. And that comes from a place of a lot of pain and trauma growing up. And, when it says happy, healthy, and hungry, I feel like there was always a hole. My parents divorced when I was 4 and it was the 70s. So it seemed like nobody else was divorced. And in my 4-year-old brain, I thought something is very wrong with me and with my family. And so I think I was always searching for things outside myself to fill this hole. And I found food and then applause and theater. And then later it became drugs, sex, rock and roll, alcohol. And then, luckily I've been on a healing path since I did the Landmark Forum in November of 97. I had a huge spiritual awakening and felt black clouds of energy leaving my body. And I thought, I don't know what just happened, but I would like some more of this, please. And then I moved to New York and got sober all at the same time. So it's been an evolution, and I'm still learning and still healing. And I think so many women who grew up in the 70s and 80s, the message we got was that our value was completely connected to how we looked. And the
Yeah.
worst thing you could be in Texas was fat. Like that was the worst. And I don't, my stepmother was probably bipolar and had a lot of trauma, and nobody knew how to eat healthy, and so there was just a huge challenge. And then I was also assaulted growing up, and that's very common for girls who've been molested or assaulted, often develop eating disorders. And so
Yes.
unfortunately my story is very, very common. And so I just share that because it's a lifetime journey. And I know so many women have struggled with this. And apparently, middle-aged women are now having eating disorders. It's going up. And I think part of it
Were
is the
you a
pressure of social media.
if I may, were you like a starver or were you a binger?
Both. I
Oh,
would go
wow.
through, I would starve myself during the week, and then I would eat all weekend, and I couldn't seem to stop, even though my stomach hurt. And then so that was sort of like the starving and then binging,
Mm.
and then I found laxatives, and then there were periods of anorexia. And then once I got to college, I started taking ecstasy to escape, but also
Haven't we
because
all?
I liked it. Well, I liked, feeling fun and everybody was
Yeah.
beautiful, but also I didn't want to eat. And then I would dance. So it was all, for me, it was so much about, do I feel thinner? Anything that helped me feel thinner. And so, first it was laxatives, and then it was ecstasy, and then my friend lost all this weight and it was crystal meth. And
Mm,
I'm so lucky to be alive. I didn't lose my teeth, and
yeah.
my grades went down, and that's what snapped me out of it. And then I gained all the weight back that I had lost. I was a size 4, which had been like
Wow.
my dream. And I remember looking in the mirror, Marie, and thinking, I'm still not happy. And I still have big thighs. Like, how can I be skinny and I still have these, it was genetic. I have these really muscular thighs. And,
Mm.
and, it was a painful realization. And, I'm grateful that I work out, and I still, every once in a while, have trouble with sugar,
Uh,
dancing with
yeah.
the devil a
Yep, yep.
little bit.
You said something really funny to me one day, and I don't remember, but I used it. I used it to somebody else, and I said it, and they were hysterically laughing. And this is why you're just a genius sometimes with your wording. It was like something like sugar is that bad boyfriend that you always went back to. It's like a toxic relationship. He just pulls you back in, right? Oh
Well, I
my
have a
god.
joke. I'm like, my ex keeps following me around. Finally, I turned around. I said, "We broke up, Cinnabon. Leave me alone."
That's so great. Let me
That
tell you
smell
something.
is
When
like
you
crack.
you walk through yeah, you walk through the malls and it's
Oh
like
man.
you smell that immediately, and then the pretzels, and it's just your olfactory is just like on high gear.
Yeah,
Um so that's pretty incredible, and I always thought you were a New Yorker. I never realized that you were from Texas because you just seem like you fit really well with New York style, because we do have
that
similar
intensity.
stories. Like we have the
Yeah,
comedy draw, we have the partying, the dancing, the drugs, we have that background, and it's just like you're very New York to me. And to talk to you about what you said earlier, being fat or overweight in Texas was frowned upon. I have news for you, honey. It was here too, in Jersey, in New
yeah.
York. It was that what's the word I'm looking for? The
Zeitgeist of the
Yes, and
time. Yeah.
the low fat diet, the
Ah,
calisthenics, the aerobics, that type of thing that was in, and I just never fit that mold. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. There was so much pressure for all the wrong reasons.
So tell me exactly when give me an example of when did you kind of hit rock bottom with your eating disorder, and when did that all kind of come to light, that you were like, wait, I can't do this anymore.
Maria, it was a series of things. And I do believe that God puts people in our lives, for a reason. So, I'm struggling with being bulimic, and I probably would use laxatives like once a month, roughly, in high school. And I think I would go through periods where I didn't, and then I would come back to it. And then I remember getting ready to go away to college, and I was just I could,
Mm.
stressed out. I couldn't stop. And I knew my dad and my stepmother would worry, and you could feel the judgment. But my stepmother was so abusive, there was no way I could say, I need help, because it was just such a toxic environment. And I remember um, getting ready to go down to be dropped off, and I could not stop eating. And I remember taking, I don't know, 25 laxatives, and my body didn't even respond because my tolerance had become so high. And so that was definitely like a
Wow.
wake up call. And I remember going to have a final meal, and my dad said, "You sure are eating a lot." And I
Hmm.
said, "Well, this is maybe the last meal I have for a while." And I'm sure I was bloated.
Hmm.
And so that was a low point. And then I remember having so much freedom and drinking beer and eating pizza. And there is a
Yeah.
picture of me, and my face is so bloated from all of the beer and the wheat and
Yeah.
and if somebody invited me to go eat, I would say yes, even if I already ate.
Wow.
And so I was gaining the freshman 15. And then, I had this friend who was losing weight, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Crystal meth." And, so that
Oh,
was like a
geez.
new, it never occurred to me. Like, I just didn't stop to think that it was bad for me. I just thought, oh my God, anything to be thin. Like, I did
Yeah.
fen. There was
Oh my
the
God, I
diet
remember
drug.
that.
I did fen that put holes in your heart. And
Yeah.
I did not care. Like, it wasn't even a choice for me. And it may be hard for people to understand, but it was such a driven and a need, and then I found the love of my life, my first boyfriend. And so I stopped doing laxatives, because you can't
Mm.
do it around, a boyfriend. And,
Sure.
and I remember gaining a little weight, and he would make comments about my weight, and he didn't mean to be mean. He didn't know
Yeah,
all the things I
sure.
was going through. And so there were lots of bottoms, Marie. And I kept, I think there was a part of me that was like, this can't be good for you, Elaine. And so I was,
Mm.
things were evening out as I got a little older. And then I had come back to UT to finish my degree. And I had a one room studio, and I had this gay friend, Christopher, who'd moved in, and he was a disaster. But one night, that's a whole nother story. But one night I said, every once in a while, if I feel like I eat too much, I take extra laxatives.
Oh,
And I had
wow.
never said that out loud to another human being, Marie.
Holy
And he
cow.
said, "But Elaine, that's so bad for you."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there was something about admitting that, and knowing, like, oh, like admitting, and then having that, you know, the response was coming from love, rather abuse, which was
Yeah.
unfortunately my family. And
Sure.
in that moment, Marie, I was able to go, he's right. And even though I still struggled with emotional eating, I did not take any more laxatives after that. And I'm so grateful, because I would probably be dead if I had continued. So I did it off and on for 12 years. 12 years.
That's a long time. That's a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
I've known people that have had eating disorders. Um, I had an eating disorder. It wasn't like a very overt one, right? It was just the emotional eating. And I think a lot of people have a tendency to leave that out of the equation. I do
Mm,
believe that emotional eating is an eating disorder that is unrecognized. I think it's recognized now much more than it was in the past. It's either one extreme, it's either you starve
yeah.
yourself or you binge and purge or you take laxatives, a combination of both, like you said. But the emotional eating is really just like a drug, right? We're going to take it to feel better, because we just want to get out of whatever emotion that we're in. We just don't want
Yeah.
to feel. We want to be numb. So I understand that food is very much can be weaponized and be a drug. And
It
wow,
is
that's
just like a drug. I mean, look at Ozempic. Look at all the things that are happening.
yeah,
It's like an epidemic. What is it? 2/3 of Americans are considered obese. I think
yeah.
emotional eating is the most accepted addiction that we have in our culture. Like, and look at COVID. How many people talked about how much they gained? Like they were just at home watching the news, freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no joke. I mean, I would joke it's easy to quit cocaine. You stop dating your dealer, but
There
you
you
got to
go.
you got to eat to live. And so, I'm still I've come a long way. And when I meditate, pray, work
Yeah,
out, when I'm working my program, I'm better at saying, okay, Lynn, are you really hungry? Are you just stressed out?
that's
And
great.
and I used to reach for things in the afternoons when I was tired or stressed. And now I try to move my body. I'll get up and jump around or dance. I'll go do some push-ups, or I'll even get on the spin bike for a minute. Like a lot of times I just need to move if I've been sitting at my desk or computer or
You're
coaching a lot.
stagnant. Yeah. So, all
Yeah.
right. So, coaching. So, is this something? How did you get from coaching? So, I know some of your history where you went and you worked with college students, right? You did a lot of public speaking. Could you talk a little bit about the transition of how you got to coaching? Because I think there is a path there, and I would love for everyone to listen to how you got from I'm a comedian, I'm on stage. Like I love that story too of how you got into comedy and how that all played out on the stage with the college students. It's a really great story.
Oh, thank you. Well, so I'm in New York City and I'm running around, I'm auditioning and waiting tables and taking acting class. And people kept saying, "You're funny, you're funny." And I was like, "What?" And so I sort of fell into comedy. I had not planned on that at all. And then I also had a mentor who kept saying, "You got to work with Debbie Ford." And I was like, "I'm
Mm.
fine. I'm fine." And finally, I went to her one day at Omega. It was in the city,
Yep.
and within 5 minutes, I'm like sobbing. And I remember thinking, whoa, I'm not connected. I had no idea there was still so much trauma and healing and buried shame. And I remember feeling this huge release. And I thought, okay, I need to get trained in this. So I started my work with her, and I did 3 of her certifications, and that was a 5-year process. So I'm doing that while I'm still pursuing acting and getting up and starting to do stand up. And then I met this woman who had started a college agency, and she said, "I need a woman. I have all these guys.
Mm.
I need a woman." And I was like, "Cool, cool." Because you're always trying to find a way to make money. But everyone said, "Elaine, you're not ready. If you go as a comedian to the college market, you're going to be up against people who've been on the Tonight Show 10 times. Like, you're not ready. But didn't you have a bunch of addictions?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I came in, it was totally a happy accident. I came in as the funny eating disorder girl. And I'll never forget, Marie, I was so nervous. I thought I was going
Yeah.
to throw up. Like,
Oh my
I said
gosh.
to I remember I grabbed my agent's hands and I said, "Marianne, I need you to listen to my talk, and I need you to tell me it's good, even if you hate it." And I wish it felt different than performing because it was me. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget, I was like, "I don't believe in diets." And the kids were like, "Wow." Like they were standing up and chanting,
That's
and it
great.
was so like, wow. And even the college conference guy, he said, "I've never heard anyone talk about the emotional aspect of eating." And I was like, "Are you kidding? Like, that's it. We all know how to lose weight. If just having that knowledge, we all learned that in health class in 7th grade. That
Yeah.
having the knowledge doesn't mean shit.
No, it
Anyway, so
doesn't.
that's how I started. And then my topics kept morphing. Can you talk about drugs and alcohol? Sure. Can you talk about your sexual assault? I was like, okay. I it took me a minute, but I thought, if I can save one kid,
Yeah.
from shame, addiction, cutting, whatever. And this was before Me Too was so mainstream. So, that's how it was another happy accident, but it was a very fulfilling work. And I know that I stopped suicides. I helped get
Mhm.
kids into different counseling. I took kids to Al Anon. I,
Amazing.
because they would come up to me and say, I never told anybody this before, but. And so I would listen and I'd make sure I got their info because I was only there for an hour,
Yeah.
and so there was such a need, and I'm so glad that things have evolved since 2010 through, I started in like 2008. I was doing a lot of it. And, we've raised awareness and we have more resources now because it's a huge need.
That's amazing, and that must have brought you so much happiness just to be able to save and reach that many youth. These young individuals that were, boy, it's like, did you ever think like, wow, I wish I had somebody that came to me when I was going through this. I wish I had somebody, but it's kind of like Monday morning quarterbacking, right? It doesn't. Who you are is who you are right now, right? You're cut from that fabric from your experiences, and that is tremendous. So I love that. So you have made all these appearances, you have all these accolades, which are wonderful, SNL and the Huffington Post, and where you've been and what you've done. So through this path, what led you to coaching? What brought you this down this happy path of, oh my gosh, I need to fulfill this? What brought you there?
Well, that's been quite a journey because, I spent 5 years training as Debbie Ford coach. I got 1 hour of marketing.
Oh
1 hour and five. So I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to own my value. So that has been quite an evolution. Lots of twists and turns, and then I became a dating coach, which was interesting.
wow.
And then I realized in 2016, oh, I could be helping women get over their fear of being on camera and the whole body image thing.
Yeah.
And so I started Captivate the Crowd, and I really love helping women get over themselves so that they can do their thing. And I talk a lot about the bullshit that is pushed on women,
Yeah.
and the triple standard. If you're a mom, you're supposed to be skinny and pretty and organic and, Maybelline and 18 hours and all the things. And it's completely ridiculous and we don't put that on men. And I'm glad things have turned and there's more room to go. And I really work on coming from the inside out because there's always a good reason to not press go. My hair is it's naturally curly. God knows what it's doing
Yeah.
today. I'm wearing a weird shirt. Oh, I've got a new wrinkle. Like there's
Right.
always a good reason. But if you're connected with I want to use my story for good. I want to help heal the world with love and laughter, one video, one story, one joke, one client at a time. That is so much bigger than my own little human things. You know what? Some people don't like me. I talk fast. I stood up last night in a networking thing and I could feel some judgment. And I
Sure.
had to kind of
Sure.
have a talk with myself going home because I go in that like, maybe I shouldn't keep going. I've met some great women, but I feel the judgment. And then it's like, no,
Mhm.
Elaine, your commitment, what is your commitment? It's so much bigger than a couple of Bible belt, whatever. It doesn't even matter. But I'm still human, so I wrestle with that.
Well, yeah,
And then
well,
I
I mean,
also,
that's
yeah,
I love that. I'm sorry. I mean, you
no,
hit
it's okay.
you hit the nail on the head, is that women are always looking for excuses. It's like it's never a perfect time, right? It's always, oh, this and that, and I had those excuses. I was like, I don't have the face for being in front of people, and I'm a little thick in the thighs, and I'm a little here, and my tooth is crooked, and I gave up all that bullshit so long ago because, with your help too in the past, I was just like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I have so much information that I can share with others, and I have a vast network of individuals that I want, like yourself, to share stories of your health journey and your life. And I believe that why is so much bigger than all of the other bullshit, because you know what? I love that word BS because that fits. And it's like, you know what? There are going to be assholes out there that judge us. We're going to stand up in front of
Absolutely.
people and they're going to be like, oh, look at you. Oh, you got a receding hairline. Like, and you know what? Guys hear that all the time. Like a guy would hear, oh, you have a receding hairline. Well, that's the end of death for them. When they hear that, that's like their trigger. But for us, it's like, oh, you're too fat. You're too skinny. No matter
Right.
what it is, it's like the
I'm
Barbie
like,
movie.
look at this. Look at this spot. I got
It's like,
marathon size.
yeah,
I got
listen,
marathon size.
I am not built for speed. I am built with bulk
Endurance, baby.
and for endurance. That's right.
You and
I
me
am, this
both.
is not a race. Uh, I like to eat. Obviously, being a chef, I just love to cook and I love to
And
feed
can I just
people.
say, Marie is the most amazing chef.
I don't know about you guys, but I work out 5 days a week and I need a lot of protein to build strong muscles. So I've discovered Paleo Valley. They are my go to for healthy snacks on the go. Whether I'm craving one of their protein packed beef sticks or enjoying one of their delicious protein bars, mine being chocolate, of course, they've got you covered. Click the link below to save up to 25% store wide. No checkout code needed. Don't miss out on this opportunity to transform your health with Paleo Valley.
Emma Thompson, she made that movie and she had to do a shoot where she was naked in the mirror. Mm-hmm. And she plays this British lady who was very repressed and her husband died. And she got to go on, talk shows to promote the movie. And she talks about how what an incredible waste of energy and time and love to focus on our body's imperfections and how we're so much more than that. And it's, you can find it on TikTok and Insta. It's such a great thing. And I need to watch it from time to time.
I'm having some microphone issues. So,
okay.
My microphone decided to go out on me and it's not recording, but that's okay. I have a backup microphone. This is it. This is what happens in studios. So,
yep.
It has been, remember we did a video when we made tacos?
Yes.
We made shrimp tacos.
And so good.
That was so good, right? Like that was fun. Like that was my first like breakout video I uploaded to YouTube years ago. And I never understood like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Like I could actually do this in front of people and it's fine and no one's going to judge me. And it was weird and goofy and I cursed and I did things just being myself. And that's really what kind of broke me out of my shell so that I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm here. I could actually do this. And you encouraged me to do that. You encouraged me. So it was really cool.
Well, and I love it, Marie, because there are lots of chefs and there's lots of things, but you have such a great story when you talk about your mom growing up, this New Yorker in you've had a great journey that nobody else has. And you've had your own health journey and we need to hear that. I can't relate to Nigella or whatever, the perfect perky, like the Magnolia people with, that, I mean, she is beautiful and people love her and yay, I can't relate. She's skinny and perfect. So it's like, there's all kinds of people, and somebody needs to hear exactly what you have to say and your healing journey. And so much about toxins and releasing things and what not to eat and where to get organic vegetables. One time Marie sent me beautiful, beautiful vegetables for my birthday. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was so, I did. I found a farm and I was like, because I'm always about supporting local farmers. And
oh yeah,
I was like, oh, we have to figure out how I could send, because remember we had those, like you got these, oh, what were they? Not artichokes. They were like, I think they were like a type of artichoke.
Jerusalem artichoke.
Artichokes. And I said, oh yeah, you slice them up and you bake them like a potato. You put them in the oven. You could saute them. You called me. You're like, what are these things?
I was like, what do I do?
You've never seen. It's like, because think about it. When we go to a grocery store, do you ever see a Jerusalem artichoke? Typically not. But when you go to a farmer's market, you're gonna see what's in season. That's what I love, and I'm sure you have a huge, really, Jess is down in Waco, and she said there's a really cool farmers market down there, a big farmers
Okay,
market. I know that said that a lot of celebrities that are in that area, they go. Candace Owens goes down there. A lot of different personalities. But Texas, you have a lot of resources. You do, and
sure.
I'm sure. Are you enjoying the change being back there? What's I guess it really doesn't matter, right? Because you coach everyone everywhere, right? So tell me a little bit about how people can get in contact with you.
Well, sure. The best way is to find me on Instagram, Elainewilliamnsfun. I am on Instagram the most, or you can come to my website, captivatethecrowd.com, and I have a great checklist for short form video. If you've been toying with the idea of doing video, and I love it because you can print it out and keep all your information in one place. It's nice to have checklists and things to help you get organized. I'm a big fan of a little bit of prep before you start trying to film can help get you grounded. And, we have a million ideas, Marie, right? When we're like naturally coaching people or in conversation. And then the minute we stand up to shoot, we go, right? And so
Yeah,
that's why I'm a
yeah,
big fan of lists and bullet points. And so
yeah. And I
those are the
mean,
best ways.
I have it all in front of me on my screen that I can hit and go over, and those are all the things that you taught me how to do. Unfortunately, I did not plan on my microphone not working, which is very unfortunate. So it might sound a little bit different to people out there, and I'm sorry about that. But it's okay. My voice travels. I'm Italian. Hey, we talk like this, so you know. When Elaine first met
Hey, hey.
when Elaine first met me, she was just like, "You're an Italian." She's like, "Hey, you talk like this. What are you talking about? Hey, like right away, it was that you're a New Yorker. Like it was just fun because you had the New York experience, and kind of what New York Italian, New Jersey Italian is like.
Oh,
And
love it. Love
yeah,
it so much.
yeah. So it's really, I mean, Elaine, this has really been a pleasure. You are one thing before we go though, and I'll ask every guest this. What is your
Okay.
favorite dish? What is your favorite? If you had to have your last meal today, what would it be?
Ooh, I think it would be a version of what you made for me that birthday dinner. The filet was so tender and beautiful
Mm,
and juicy, and you had these rhubarb, some kind of potatoes. Like I've always loved mashed potatoes, and I love green beans. So to me, it's like I never thought I'd be like a meat and potatoes kind of girl, but there's something about a big, beautiful steak that's medium rare
yeah,
that is just, oh,
it's so good, right? Yeah, and I thought you were gonna say Tex-Mex, Mexican, true Mexican, because anybody doesn't know Elaine. Elaine is a taco, Mexican,
I do
Tex-Mex.
love tacos.
She like knows her stuff. So if there's a truck, in some other city, she's gonna be like, that's not good. This is not real. This is a true, authentic Mexican. She knows her stuff, and we got that test when we did that video with the shrimp tacos with the
So good. And the
chimichurri
chimichurri
sauce.
sauce. I
Oh yeah,
remember that sauce.
that was a good one. So, Aileen, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for being a guest here.
My pleasure.
Definitely, we will love to have you back in the future just to talk about what's going on in the world of video and everything that there is as we are around here. And we love it. And thank you so much. You are a blessing, my friend. And,
Thank you for having me, Marie. So much fun.
absolutely. And we'll put some information below that people can get in contact with you, and we'll share those links in the podcast. And again, thank you, Elaine, so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Happy, Healthy, and Hungry podcast. We appreciate your support and encourage you to follow, like, and share our content with your friends and family. Together, we can continue to inspire others and grow our community. We'll see you on the next episode.